There's just really no point, is, for him, no political gain,
Right.
no nothing like that. Well, that's one of the reasons why we're doing stuff like this, though,
Right,
is because
exactly.
we'd kind of like to light a little bit of a fire underneath Joe Biden. I mean, he's obviously dissed you. And I'm, as a gun owner, I'm offended by that, and I would like to. And now knowing you, I'm even more offended because I find you to be a very engaging, intelligent young man, and definitely what I would actually think of as being somebody I would hold up. Now, I mean, I would need to know you longer, but as a gun owner, you strike me as the kind of gun owner that I like to hunt. And I hunt. I love hunting. I mean, it's just my favorite thing to do. But and actually deer season's coming up, so I'm really getting hyped. and I've been around a lot of people. My son's a sports shooter. He hunts occasionally, but he's more into the sports shooting and everything else. And I only find myself comfortable with certain people.
Sure.
I want a guy that's very comfortable with a gun. I will not, some people, not a lot of people, very, very few. And it's funny because if you're on a range or something, and now I know a lot of you guys that are afraid of guns have never been on a range.
Right.
You play around with a gun, you act wrong with it, them people are dead on you right now.
There's a lot of control, and that's good if you're going, you're putting yourself out there with some guy you've never met next to you shooting at a target.
Oh, absolutely.
And so you don't know what he's been or done or anything like that.
I don't want to get shot.
Right, exactly. So that's why you go to a range. Everything's controlled. There's a range master. Where you really have to be careful is when you're out in the woods shooting into a hill. You want people around you that
are going to be safe.
Their tendencies and what they're going to do. Yeah.
There's no room to. I always say when you're handling guns, and I say this about hunting, that there's no room for play.
Right.
There's no room for jealousy.
Right.
So and that applies to hunting. That means that that if I shoot an animal and it's a nice animal, you should be proud and happy
Right,
for
sure,
me.
yeah, right.
If I do well, you should be proud for me. I should be proud for you. And I guess the people that don't know about gun culture have really got to take a few minutes and get more involved with people that are involved in the gun culture. And I think that you'd be a whole lot less afraid. And I think you'd actually feel a little bit better. Now we're in the studio on the east side of Flint, the third most dangerous city in the United States. And as you drove down the road, you're actually from Davison or Clow. Clow. I'm sorry. And as you drove here from Clow, that's this is a shady side of town, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's not the prettiest, but I mean I've been places I shouldn't have before, so
absolutely.
You're just aware of your surroundings. It's one of those things,
Now I know we all, and I'm not going to say too much about it, but we are sometimes armed.
Sure,
here.
Absolutely.
Here. And I can tell you that I usually am not. And I feel a lot better coming around here, knowing that we're very well protected. Now, if you were around any of the people that come around here, you would never know it. Right. They don't swing them around. They don't pull them out. They don't tell anybody about them. They don't have any reason to brag about them. And I think that's part of it. Don't you think that's part of the problem, Jered? Is that people just don't understand us?
Yeah, I think that's one specific reason why the CCW law works is because people don't know who is armed and who isn't. And actually, it's funny you
Are you saying criminals don't like it when people are armed?
Well, I would say yes, they don't like it, But you bring that up, and I was just at a picnic this summer in Connecticut, and one of my cousins was there, and we got talking, and he reached in his pocket. We were talking about guns. He reached in his pocket and pulled out his .32, his little, pocket gun, we call them.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? Because you just don't know who's armed and who's not. So you don't know what car door you're going to open as a criminal and try to get that car, and you're going to get shot,
I had the same experience with this very young black girl. And I was talking to her actually about you just the other day. And she was saying, I want to show you something. She was just getting out of her car. And she goes, I want to show you something. And this is a very, high-class, respectable black woman, holds a high position in university. Sure. And she reached into her car and she, pulled from underneath of her seat a 9mm. And
good for her.
And I asked her, I said, is that legal? And she goes, I have my CCW, and I've got it a long time ago. And she goes, and I go out to the range and I shoot. And she goes, and I'm a single mom. And she said that her past husband was, not the best guy. Right. And that since that time she's had some problems, and she uses it to protect her family. Now, I can't understand for the life of me why we would want to deny, a young single mother
exactly.
that doesn't have a lot of money, can't afford to move, out of the ghetto, and she's got to defend her kids from people that, by the way, are getting crazier every minute. And which brings me to another point too. I'm quite older than you, and probably twice your age. Looking at you,
I'm not young by any means,
but it feels like I'm about twice as old as you. I don't think it probably is, but anyway, I can remember a time when I was a kid. Now, I got a 410 when I was 12 years old,
okay.
And my parents bought it for me for Christmas. And I put it in a corner. It was a used gun. Right. But, to me, it was all the world because now I had a gun. Now I could go hunting. And I had an Indian friend, Lloyd, who taught me everything I know about guns, everything. A great teacher. Right. And when I got that gun, I was told right off the bat that, you don't ever do this, and this, and this. And you never pointed at somebody. You never cross a fence with it. You hand it to somebody else. Mm-hmm. You always be careful. You always treat it like it's loaded. They went through the whole little thing. And one of the things that my parents taught me right then and there is they said, you never, ever use this to settle an argument.
Yep.
And, the funny part about it is, Jered, back then when I was a kid, which, like I said, was quite a while ago, more people had guns. Mm-hmm. I mean, all my friends had guns. There was more access. We didn't have trigger locks. Yep. We didn't have gun safes, which by the way, I seen you had very nice.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
and we didn't have all these gun control laws. Most of them have been passed since the 60s. And I wasn't that old, but most of them were, just coming into effect. Most of them came after the Kennedy killing. And yet we didn't have no problems. I went to a nearly all-black school, and I'm a white guy. And I can tell you that I was not treated well. It was during the racial riots and Martin Luther King's assassination. Mm-hmm. I was jumped, beaten. I was treated very, very bad, not by all the blacks folks, not by all of them, just by a small fraction of them. Right. I had some really good black friends that stood up for me, and and I don't ever want to put them in the same class. But the point is, I never thought about taking a gun to school.
Right.
I never thought about shooting up a bunch of people. People need to understand that. Is that somewhere down the line, we've lost our way. It's not the guns. I mean, I hate to sound like an NRA guy, but it's not the guns. It's the mind behind the guns.
Exactly. It's the person with the gun.
It's the person with the gun.
On. I just heard a quote the other day. It says, let's worry about the person holding the gun instead of what one it is.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely. Because does it really matter if I wanted to kill somebody, what gun I'm going to use?
Right. You're going to find a way to get a gun and do it. If you're that set on doing that,
absolutely,
you're going to find a way.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to say, Jered, I thank you very much for showing up on my show.
Appreciate it.
I think this has been absolutely great. And at any time, dude, that you want to have me out to the range, because I would love to pop off that AR-15 a few times just to see what's up, But anyway, this is the Hippie Conservative, and I want to thank all of you for meeting with me, and being on my show and listening to Jered. And if you guys all get a chance.
One of our viewers asked if you have anything going on YouTube, Jered, like if you got a YouTube channel or something.
Yep, that's www.youtube.com. That's the main channel, and then /Jered T. Jered T.
Not Jered with the A.
No, 2 E's in my name. Yep.
But I'm only joking with him because he told me that the first time that I called him. That probably happens a lot when people are looking for it. Yep. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for being on watching my show, and I want to thank Jered very much for being on my show. I want to thank John Wilson and Steve Myers for being crazy enough to put me on a show. What the hell are they thinking? And this is the Conservative, and I'll see you next week. Thank you very much.